Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville. My name is Reverend Tim Temerson. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm grateful to be leading worship this morning with UUCville members Nash Ford and Greg Townsend, and whoever you are and wherever you have come from, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville welcomes you. We are delighted that you have joined us this morning and are grateful for all who have made this moment of our gathering. I invite us now to take a moment to greet others. Those online may unmute, and those here in the sanctuary or social hall are welcome to greet your neighbors, especially those you may not know. We offer a special welcome to newcomers and invite you to join us after the service in the social hall. You're invited to use one of our red coffee mugs, which are specially reserved for newcomers. And everyone at UUCville is reminded to offer a warm welcome to everyone, especially those with a red coffee mug. There's a live stream of the service in the social hall. All are, of course, welcome here in the sanctuary, but for those needing a roomier space, the social hall is a good option. Those on Zoom are invited to stay online for conversation following the service. Many thanks to all the people who make Sunday morning services possible, the greeters, ushers, hospitality and altar decorating teams, and our wonderful religious education leaders, and the AV Tech team, which today is led by David Millor. Yay, David. Here are this morning's announcements. So the 26-27 UUCville Pledge Drive is well underway and will be wrapping up in a matter of a few days. As of this morning, we have gone over the $500,000 mark, which is great. Now, our goal is $575,000, and we're just a little over 500. So just a reminder that for those of you who are intending to pledge or usually pledge to this congregation, I really encourage you to get those pledges in. You can do it online, you can do it after the service, but please, if you're still haven't made your pledge yet, please do so. The pledge drive ends on Wednesday, so please get those pledges in. Have you taken the UUCville survey? The survey will help identify our many gifts, skills, and interests. The survey is available, again, through March 31st, and you can find the QR code for the survey all over the place, right, David? Is that pretty accurate? There's QR codes in lots of different places. So in the social hall, and so just scan it with your phone and fill the survey out. It'll take you 5 minutes. Join us after the service for a wonderful fundraising lunch offered by our high school youth to support their upcoming trip to work with the Appalachian Service Project this summer. The lunch will include pizza, salad, cookies, I'm getting hungry already, and drinks, and adults, it only costs $10. It's a very, very good cause. Did you know that we are in the process of creating a comprehensive plan for our building and grounds? If you'd like to learn more and be part of the conversation, the planning team is having a gathering here in the sanctuary at 12:15. Please feel free to grab some, get some pizza, come on back in, and be part of the conversation. This is a really, really exciting and important time in the life of our congregation as we imagine and think about our building and grounds. Finally, I'll be holding space today at 12:30 in Lower Hall 3 for our support group Hope in Hard Times. If you would like to just have some time to think about what's going on in the world and to share feelings and thoughts, please join me at 12:30 down in Lower Hall 3. And again, feel free to bring food with you. You'll be most welcome. And of course, please join us for coffee and conversation following the service in the social hall. So today's a special day. It's one of my favorite Sundays, and I'll probably say that 5 times during the course of the service. This is a Sunday when I invite 2 members of our congregation to share their spiritual stories. And today it will be Nash Ford, who usually is upstairs doing AV, and Greg Townsend. So I'd like to invite Nash and Greg to come forward now and share our call to worship. And these words come from Lynn Cox.
Come into this time and place. Come if you find yourself on a journey of surprise and wonder. Come if you enter this place as an act of liberation. Come if you seek a life of mindfulness and a place to test your thoughts. Come if you bring hearts of all kinds, heavy hearts, hearts broken open, hearts full of love to share. Come if you seek courage, or if you have more courage than you realize.
We begin our shared journey again, gathering courage, love, mindfulness, and a sense of purpose. The journey will ask much from us. Let us move forward with love. Let us move forward with appreciation for one another. Let us move forward knowing we are not alone. Whoever you are, whatever your gifts, you are welcome to join this journey. Come, let us worship together. Please rise in body or spirit in singing Becoming, a new hymn by UU hymn writer Mary Griolia, which Scott will teach us.
I will just teach it to you line by line. It's not that difficult, but it does help to know what's going on before you sing. I am who I'm becoming. Sing that. I am who I'm becoming. Now, I am all I have done. I am all I have done. Same thing for I am dreaming. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. Now we go. I am who I'm becoming. I am who I'm becoming. Repeat that. I am who I have no done. Okay, that's all. Then we go to I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. That's the first verse. Here we go. You are who you becoming. You are all you have done. You are what you are dreaming. You've only just begun. Now the middle section. You are who you becoming. You are all you have done. You are what you are dreaming. You've only just begun. Second verse, third verse. We are who we becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we were dreaming. We've only just begun. We are who we're becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming. We've only just begun. Thank you very much.
And now I'd like to ask by our Lady Chalice. Please join as we say our chalice lighting words. We and hand motions. Here we go.
I saw a number of you yesterday at the No Kings protest. How many were there? Hands up. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Check.
So yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful day. I took a few pictures. A number of you took pictures. I'm only going to show a few that I took, just to give you a little taste of what it was like yesterday. So David, go ahead and hit it. So there's a picture I took, and of course that's a small amount of the people who were there, but you see the pedestrian bridge across 29 was full, and it was really wonderful. And let's see, let's look at the next slide. Here's some pictures of our folks. And I won't name everybody, but look at the signs. I mean, the messages are just wonderful. Go ahead, David, keep going. And yeah, there's, hate never made us great. You said it. There's Nick sitting right over there, Maggie and Elizabeth, and John Nolan. He was kind of our anchor person. There's John sitting back there, yep, with that sign, and and there's Scott and Ann. Great, so just keep going, yep. There's the Sanders Finnegans. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So we just had a fantastic time, and as I told several people who stopped me just to talk about the church and everything, I said, the most important thing is that a protest like this does for my heart is that it reminds me that all of my concerns, fears, that at least in this challenging time, I'm not alone, that we have each other. And boy, have we got a lot of each other, and that's really wonderful. Now, one other thing that is really exciting about what's happening at these protests is that they are bringing music into them, and there are these justice choir that are singing, and I was near where one of them was, and Scott is one of the leaders. And so Scott has been learning and teaching some wonderful resistance protest songs. And Scott, he was asked if he could have an opportunity to teach us one here. So Scott is teaching us a lot of songs today.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the idea is to try to get this church involved with all the other churches who are doing Justice Choir things. We are going to try to have a regular Justice Choir meeting. We haven't quite figured out when it's going to be. We did try last Saturday, and I have to say that when I came up with this idea, it was in early February, when it was quite a bit colder. And last Saturday, it was a glorious day, which did make me wonder, what are we doing in here? Why are we inside? I mean, so we're going to try to find some other time to do it. But anyway, I just wanted to give you all a chance to participate in this. When we say Justice Choir, we're not talking about a performing group. We're talking about turning everybody into a performing group. So I just want to teach you a song here. Just follow me. I'm gonna I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. If I don't pick her up, if I don't pick her up, if I don't pick her up, I will fall down. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, I will fall down. We can change words very easily, right? Like, I'm gonna pick my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna pick my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna pick my brother up, he is not heavy. If I don't pick him up, If I don't pick him up, if I don't pick him up, I will fall down. I'm gonna pick my neighbors up, they are not heavy. I'm gonna pick my neighbors up, they are not heavy. I'm gonna pick my neighbors up, they are not heavy. If I don't pick them up, if I don't pick them up, if I don't pick them up, I will fall down. Sister, one more time. What? Siblings is good. I'm gonna pick my siblings up, they are not heavy. I'm gonna pick my siblings up, they are not heavy. I'm gonna pick my siblings up, they are not heavy. If I don't pick them up, if I don't pick them up, if I don't pick them up, I will fall down. One more time with sisters. I'm gonna pick my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna pick my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna pick my sister up, she is not heavy. If I don't pick her up, if I don't pick her up, if I don't pick her up, I will fall down. Great. Now you're part of the Justice Choir.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. By the way, that's Scott's new portable cajon that he's got there, and he is just tapping out a beautiful rhythm. So, all right, great. Well, thank you all I hope you learned lots of good songs. There'll be a quiz later. No, not really. So anyway, all right, so now we're going to sing our children out to their classes, and I think many of our kids are going to the parlor for children's worship. This friendly place,
Love give light to every face. As we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. Guide our hearts to
We are an interconnected community that cares for one another. Part of how we embody this care is by making time each week to share the joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts. We have several items this week. In honor of all our joys and sorrows, both spoken and unspoken, you are invited to come forward and place a glass stone in a communal bowl of water. Everyone is welcome to participate. Those online are invited to share their joys or sorrows in the chat. Cindy Benton-Groner from the Pastoral Care Team will come forward to help hold the space. Joan will be available for a few minutes after the service in the back corner of the sanctuary if you are in need of support or just want someone to listen. Those online can contact the Pastoral Care Team at pastoral@ucharlottesville.org. Let us begin.
This community offers its love and support to what is closest to our hearts. Another way we show our care for one another is in sharing our financial gifts with our community and our congregation. Social Action Collection for the month of March is for the UU Congregation of Charlottesville's Hospital Meal Packet program, which provides non-perishable food for families of patients at the UVA Medical Center, often who are from out of town and who might otherwise struggle to feed themselves. Each meal packet has enough food to provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner for one person. Every meal packet also contains a note of love and support from our congregation. David, will you please show us the social action slide for giving? Wonderful. For those who would like to make a donation to the meal packet program right now. In addition to giving online, if you'd like to give today with cash or check, please use the Social Action Collection envelopes scattered about the sanctuary and place your offering in the collection plate. If you're going to write a check, make it out to the UU Congregation of Charlottesville and write meal packets in the memo line. In addition to our Social Action Collection, we, of course, are inviting everyone to financially support all of the ministries and the mission of this congregation. Through your pledges and the weekly Sunday morning offering, together our financial gifts support UUCville and enable us to put love into action. This is our shared ministry. So as our offering begins, let us now dedicate all of the many gifts we share with one another by saying, "We accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good." I am so excited for today's service, and it's always one of my favorites because it gives you all an opportunity to experience something that I experience as a UU minister fairly regularly, which is hearing people share their spiritual journey stories of what, how their journey started and how they eventually made their way potentially here if they didn't already grow up in Unitarian Universalism. So that's just one of my favorite parts of being a Unitarian Universalist minister is just inviting people to share their story. And so we dedicate service every year, and I invite a couple of folks to come forward. And today we're going to be hearing from Nash Ford, who is a staff member here at UCville, but who also recently joined the church. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder. And but when I was telling Nash about this service, Nash said, "Oh, Reverend Tim, I think I'd like to do that." And I went, never asked a staff member to do this before. This is kind of new and interesting. But it seemed like a good idea, and I know you're going to really love hearing from Nash. And then, of course, I also asked the fabulous Greg Townsend. When I approached Greg, I said, "So Nash is speaking. Nash is young." And yeah, right. Greg said, "Yeah, me too." So anyway, I'm really excited to hear from Nash and Greg. So Nash, come on up, and the pulpit is yours.
Hello. Okay. Oh, I'm looking at you all from a very different perspective than I usually do. All right. I grew up in the Roman Catholic faith tradition. Wow. Both of my parents were raised Catholic. My dad is from Washington, D.C., and he attended Catholic school growing up. Catholic all-boys military school, even. Yeah. And he attended Catholic schools until he left the area for college. And my mom is from the Philippines, where an overwhelming majority of the population is Catholic. Thank you to Spanish colonization. My parents had pretty active religious upbringings, but it wasn't really part of my childhood. I was baptized as Catholic at the Cathedral of St. Matthew the Apostle in D.C. But besides that, we didn't really attend Mass. I didn't really complete any of the sacraments. And I remember asking my dad why he didn't really bring my sister or me to church. He said he wanted us to have the freedom to explore religion without forcing us into their faith tradition. I think that's true, but I also think he didn't want to get up for 8 a.m. Mass, which I get. And The Exorcist is my favorite movie of all time. I'm going somewhere with this. When The Exorcist was released in 1973, my dad was 11 years old, and his older cousins, snuck him into a theater to watch it. And because he was 11, he was terrified. And he became scared of going to hell. My dad was scared in a piety. After seeing The Exorcist, he wanted to become a priest. Coincidentally, my journey with Catholicism started almost the exact same way. Like my dad, I watched The Exorcist at an age that was a little too young. And I finished it thinking, am I going to go to hell? That's when I started to get curious about the Bible and started memorizing Our Father, Hail Mary, and other Catholic classics. And these were the prayer beads I used when I was a child, and I was thinking of this when I was writing everything I have to say, and I found them in my apartment. Growing up is hard, and it's uncomfortable for every little kid. It felt especially hard for me because I was a very sad child. I was anxious and I was shy, and my parents expected a lot from me. I remember being around 12, having my first thoughts, What if I wasn't alive anymore? Would it matter? Would anyone care? I couldn't really talk to my parents about these thoughts or these feelings. A therapist I saw briefly when I was about 13 or 14 suggested that I had depression. My parents did not take me back to therapy after hearing that. They did not like the idea of their kid being depressed. I couldn't really talk to my friends about it either. For one, it's hard to find the words to describe that when you're 12. And it was already hard enough for me to make friends. I didn't want to lose the ones I already had by opening up too much about these feelings. So, I turned to the Bible and God to comfort me, to make me feel like it was okay to fail sometimes, and to feel like someone could hear me. For a long time, I felt like God was listening to me. When all the expectations and the sadness felt overwhelming, I felt like God answered my prayers and gave me the strength to keep going. And this worked for a while. It worked for many years. And then I became an adult. I entered my 20s. And it felt like it never got better. The obstacles there were more and more, never ending. And I thought, if God really loved me, if God was really listening to me, why does it seem like things only get worse and never better? I was losing my faith in God, and I couldn't identify with Catholicism anymore. I started working here at UU Charlottesville in the office in June 2025. I've been here about maybe 9 months. I'm not too good at math. And I immediately liked this congregation a lot. Everyone was so welcoming, and everyone was so nice to me. A month later, in July, I got a call from Reverend Tim. He said, "Rachel Buckland is leaving. Are you doing anything Sunday mornings?" And I said, not typically. So then I found myself with a new job title. And I started training every Sunday to take over Rachel's job as the streaming tech for the services. And even though I was working, eventually, being here on Sunday mornings became more than a responsibility to me. I felt moved by the services, and I felt something. And I realized that being here on Sunday mornings with all of you became a spiritual practice for me. Getting to know the members of this congregation has been really meaningful. Conversations with people like Reverend Leah, who unfortunately isn't here, and Patty Wallens, who I scared a little bit earlier by telling her that I mentioned her in this, often make me consider what I can add to my life that feeds my spirit. I can't tell you how many people in my life have suggested journaling to me, and I did not listen. But Patty suggested it, and I said, I'll try it. And I actually quite liked it. And I've attended the UU Christian Fellowship group here once, and hopefully will again, schedule allowing. And it was meaningful for me because I felt like I had the chance to love the Bible again and the stories that I grew up with, without necessarily labeling myself as a Christian, or identifying with people who have used the scripture to hurt other people. I've also been very grateful to work with families that have had memorial services here. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to help people remember their loved ones who are no longer physically alive, but their love and legacy have yet to die. It really feeds my spirit. This congregation has given me so many opportunities to grow in a professional way, but also in a personal way. My love for this congregation led me to sign the membership book on March 18th, 2026. Pretty recent. And before I finish, I'd like to read an excerpt from the poem On the Beach at Night Alone by one of my favorite poets, Walt Whitman. Not to be confused with On the Beach at Night by Walt Whitman, a different separate poem with almost an identical title. A vast similitude interlocks all spheres, grown, ungrown, small, large, suns, moons, planets, all distances of place, however wide, all distances of time, all inanimate forms, all souls, all living bodies, though they be ever so different, or in different worlds, all gaseous, watery, vegetable, mineral processes, the fishes, the brutes, all nations, colors, barbarisms, civilizations, languages, all identities that have existed or may exist on this globe or any globe, all lives and deaths, all of the past, present, future. This vast similitude spans them and always has spanned and shall forever span them and compactly hold and enclose them. Even if I might not believe in God in the traditional monotheistic sense that I grew up with, I believe there is some overarching force that exists, tying our souls together in the journey of our lives. I am so grateful that the vast similitude spanning us all has brought me to this congregation to nourish my spirit and serve others in a greater pursuit of a more just and loving world. Thank you all.
Wow. I am, this isn't a competition, right? Okay. Because I would come in a distant second. So I want to thank Rev Tim for inviting me to share with you my spiritual journey. And so I was practicing this with Pam. You know, I mention Pam every time I'm up here. I was practicing this with Pam the other day, and I started off by saying, well, I'm going to start at the beginning. and she listened to what I had to say, and she said, you should start at the end. And, she's always right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start where I am, and then I'm going to circle back to how I got there. So when Rev Tim asked me if I wanted to do this, he was like, so whenever Rev Tim or Rev Leah asked me to do something, I can't say no. Their wills are just too strong. And they're like Warren Beatty from Heaven Can Wait. Their wills are too strong. So I always say yes. And then I immediately recognized the problem that was inherent there, which is that I don't think of myself as a spiritual person. And so to want to share a spiritual journey, I had to figure out what that meant. So I'm all about language and words, so I went to the dictionary, to look up what does spiritual mean. So I found these definitions, and one of them said something about the spirit. And I'm like, I don't even know what a spirit is, so I don't think that's what it is. And then one of them was about the soul, and I was like, I don't know if I have a soul, so that can't be it. And then one was about sacred. I'm like, well, that's like, veneration of some deity, and I don't do that, so that's not it. And then the supernatural, I'm like, I think I'm pretty grounded in what I think is the real world, and I'm pretty skeptical at anything that I think can't be proven or at least plausibly explained by science, so it's not the supernatural. So like, where is it that I might be spiritual? So Wikipedia. Went to Wikipedia and found a definition that I really liked, and said spirituality is a reflection of the deepest values and meanings by which people live. I thought, yeah, that resonates with me. Because I do spend a lot of my waking hours thinking about how I want to live my values in the world. And they're pretty simple values. I want to be kind. I want to be good. I want to do what I can to uplift the marginalized, the powerless, the poor, the people who are not in authority, and not just people, but all living things on the planet itself, and not just those who are here now, but thinking about how I can make things better for those in the future, because that's the right thing to do, I think. And so, yeah, I like that definition of spirituality. That's I think, a reasonable reflection of where I am. So how did I get here? So I also grew up in a fairly religious Christian household. My parents were, at least on the face of it, devout Christians. So much so that they intended to name all the children after biblical characters. So their first child is Mark, and the second child is Peter. And then they named the third child Ramon, and then I think they must have realized he's not in the Bible. And so, they had to sort of throw that scheme out of the window, which is, I think, just as well, because, I could have been named Zebediah or something like, who the hell knows what my parents would have done. We run out of all the good names by the time they got to me. So that's why I got to be Greg. But anyway, we were in church every Sunday, but it wasn't always the same church. The first church that I remember going to was a Lutheran church. And then we were Southern Baptist for a while, and we were non-denominational for a while, and I think there were probably a couple other non-Catholics. Let's go to Catholics. We didn't do that. But other Protestant things here, there, and everywhere. But we were there every Sunday. And that was great for me. I grew up, believing in God, believing in the divinity of Jesus, and, the creation, and Exodus, and David, and Goliath, and the whole thing. And then somewhere, probably around my high school years, we stopped going to church. And that was okay with me because, to be honest with you, I would rather be home watching the Three Stooges than sitting in church every Sunday morning. And also, again, I thought Christianity was a pretty simple religion. I mean, you just sort of do the right thing by all the people around you. And why do I have to sit in church, listen to him telling me the same thing over and over again? That didn't make any sense to me. So that was okay. Didn't mind not going to church. But I maintained my belief in all those things that I had learned as I was growing up. Somewhere along the line, things changed. And there wasn't a sort of a turning point. It was just a gradual process. The whole Jonah and the whale thing didn't make much sense. And the parting of the Red Sea, I'm not sure, how that could have happened. I read all these books about how these things might have happened, and I don't know about that. So, but I held on to my core beliefs. Again, there's a God, Jesus is divine, those are the important things. And again, the teachings, which are the most important things, about loving your neighbor and treating people the way that they would want to be treated. Held on to those. And so I think of myself as where I am now as a lazy Christian skeptic, which is to say that I think it's entirely possible that there is a God, and it's entirely possible, perhaps more probable, that there isn't one. And it's entirely possible that Jesus was divine, and it's possible, perhaps more probable, that Jesus was not divine. I do believe there was a Jesus. I just don't know if he was more than a really smart Jewish rabbi. But I'm too lazy to put the effort into thinking about where I am on this scale. And it doesn't really matter in terms of how I'm going to live my life. If I were to find out this afternoon that there is or isn't a God, I'm not going to change the way I live my life. Because I'm going to continue living my life by the principles that I grew up with, which, again, largely informed by my Christian principles. And I realize that those are not uniquely Christian, that they are shared by many religions, but that was the context in which I learned them. So it's not going to change, whether there is, isn't, whether he was, wasn't. But I will maintain my intention to make the world a better place, to do the right thing, which obviously is consonant with Unitarian Universalism. But it wasn't a foregone conclusion that I would arrive here, but I am here. So then you may ask, Talking Heads fans here, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? So how did I get here? So when I was growing up, actually, so in high school, one of my best friends was a self-described Unitarian. But I don't know if he was a Unitarian Universalist because, frankly, we never talked religion. Despite the fact that we walked to school together every day for 2 years, We never discussed religion. All I knew was he was a Unitarian. And in my book, there's Protestants, and then there's Catholics, and then there's everything else. Jews and Muslims and Hindus and Unitarians, they're down here somewhere. They didn't believe the kind of stuff that I believed in. And so I wasn't interested. And I really didn't give any more thought to Unitarianism for the rest of my life until we were getting ready to get married, Pam and I, and thinking about who we wanted to do the service. And Pam happened to be talking to some friends at a party who said that they were going to be going to this service at the Unitarian Church in Charlottesville. And it sounded intriguing to Pam, and Pam came and listened to Reverend Wayne. Reverend Wayne here? No, not here this morning. And she was just struck by the idea that you could arrive at a religious principle without somebody telling you that this is what you had to believe, that there was some room for independent thought. And so we asked Reverend Wayne to marry us, and he did a good job, because here we are. But that was sort of, the last that I thought about church until we came back to Charlottesville in the early 90s, and we had a young child with us at that point, and we started coming to the church. And when I say we started coming to the church, what I really mean is that Pam and our oldest son used to start coming to church while I was still at home watching the Three Stooges. But it was important for me as well as for Pam that, and again for me, at that point, my intention was that our children be raised in a religious faith that they could hold on to, one that again was consonant with our values, and partly, frankly, so that they would have sort of armor against the religious crazies out there, so that they could fall back on these are things that I hold on to and that I believe dearly. When faced with the onslaught that they were going to be subjected to. And so I would come to church, not to church, I would, participate in RE with little kids every now and then when Pam couldn't make it. But that was sort of it as far as my participation in church. And then, as you may have heard, a couple weeks ago, Pam dragged me into teaching RE, kicking and screaming. Our younger son finished OWL, and Pam said, we should teach OWL. And I said, I don't want to do that. And, again, will was too strong, so we started teaching OWL together. And that was transformative for me. It was a wonderful experience. I still, we did OWL for, 15 years or something like that, and it was fantastic. I loved teaching the youth, but honestly, I loved learning from them even more. And I learned about Unitarian Universalism through OWL. And wow, this is a great religion. This is a great place to be. These are great people. I like this. And so we kept doing it and have kept doing it. And then I realized, as I was actually coming to church every now and then, that there was more to this than somebody standing up here talking with you every Sunday and Sunday school classes, because I had that when I was growing up. But there was so much more going on here. There was all the things that I thought were important that people ought to be doing, that we should be looking after each other out there in the world. We should be a church of social justice warriors, which is what we are. And that is what has become, perhaps for me, the most important part of my connection with Unitarian Universalism. It's the idea that this is a place where we as a group of people have decided that our mission is to be making the world a better place, which again is what I've always wanted to do because of what my parents taught me that I should be doing. But here is a place where that is a mission, where we want to help the poor and the downtrodden and the marginalized and the powerless and those without authority. And we're going to be out there. And we're going to be out there Saturday marching against kings. It was wonderful to sit back there and see all these hands go up. And Rev Tim asked, who was at the No Kings March? This would not have happened at my Lutheran church. This would not have happened at my Southern Baptist church. Wow, what a great place to be. And so I So that's how I got here. That's where I am. And I can't thank all of you enough for being who you are, for being a part of a church where the mission is to be out in the world doing the right thing. So thank you.
Beautiful. See what I mean? Pretty powerful. So thank you, Nash and Greg, so very much. You both did a fabulous job. Nash, hope you don't mind me saying this, but I'm so proud of you. I know this was a somewhat stressful experience, but you did wonderfully well. And Greg, you gave me just now some of the best preaching advice I've ever gotten, which now I know that if I want to hopefully see you in the pews more often, I need to start channeling the Three Stooges in my sermons. So I'm going to start practicing that. I may have you come in and see how I'm doing. So, but no, let me make this one comment. What you just experienced, where two people can stand up in front of a congregation and be themselves and say, I don't know if God exists, maybe, maybe not. I don't know, I'm still on the journey, so on and so forth. Articulate their values. That right there is Unitarian Universalism at its absolute best. That's this religion at its best. And that's why I love this service so very much. So thank you two very, very much for sharing some of yourselves with us. So let's now rise in body or spirit and join us in closing hymn, Blue Boat Home. Please rise. Nash will, beautiful, thank you, Scott. Nash, will you please extinguish the chalice? Friends, as we make our journeys of the Spirit, let's continue to share our amazing stories. May we see our different paths as blessings and opportunities to learn and to grow. May we see our shared values as invitations to build a better world. And as we sail the starry seas together, May our hearts be filled with joy and gratitude for all of our ship's companions and for this marvelous planet, which is our blue boat home. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.